They say silence can be louder than words. But in one small village, a single piece of advice from a wise old man changed how people thought about secrets, trust, and the power of silence forever. The burden. In the quiet mountain town of Ashara, people lived simple lives. Farmers worked their fields, merchants sold their goods, and children laughed in the streets. But among them was a young man named Malik, whose heart was heavy with a secret he could not bear. At night, he tossed and turned. His guilt gnawed at him like a shadow that refused to leave. Every time he looked at his neighbors, he wondered, if they knew what I've done, would they still greet me with a smile? Finally, he decided to seek out Harun, the old wise man, whose words carried more weight than gold. The confession. Malik found Harun sitting beneath a fig tree, his long white beard flowing gently in the breeze. Birds sang above, and children played in the distance. "Master," Malik began, his voice trembling, "I carry something that feels heavier than stone. I want to confess it to someone, but I fear they will never see me the same again. Should I tell, or should I remain silent?" Harun looked at him with kind but piercing eyes. "My son, when you are burdened, the heart seeks relief by sharing. But you must understand, once a word escapes your lips, it is no longer yours. It belongs to the wind, to the ears of others, and to fate itself." Malik leaned forward. "So you are saying I should tell no one?" Harun smiled faintly. "Not all ears are trustworthy. Some will guard your secret as if it were their own life. But others will take your truth and scatter it like dust. The question is not should you tell, but who deserves to know." The test of feathers. To make his point clear, Harun reached behind him and handed Malik a small bag filled with white feathers. "Take these," he said, "and tonight place one feather at the doorstep of every house in this village. Then return to me tomorrow." Though confused, Malik obeyed. Under the moonlight, he quietly placed feathers at every doorstep, by the baker's house, the merchant's shop, the blacksmith's forge, and even Harun's own humble hut. By dawn, the task was complete. The impossible task. The next morning, Malik returned to Harun. The wise man looked at him calmly and said, "Now go back and collect every feather you placed." Malik's eyes widened. "But master, the wind has blown through the night. They will be scattered." Still, Harun said firmly, "Try." Malik ran through the village, searching desperately. He found a few feathers caught in fences, some tangled in branches, others half buried in the dirt. But most were gone, carried by the wind to places he could never reach. At sunset, Malik returned, exhausted and defeated. He held only a handful of feathers in his trembling hands. "It's impossible," he said bitterly. "The wind has carried them too far." Harun nodded knowingly. "And so it is with words. Once spoken, they travel farther than you ever intended. You cannot gather them back. This is why silence, my son, is often greater than speech." The deeper wisdom. Malik lowered his head. "Then should I keep everything inside, even if it burns within me?" Harun placed a hand on his shoulder. "No, some secrets must be spoken, but only to the right ears, to a heart that will hold them, not scatter them. Choose wisely whom you trust. Do not give your burdens to those who will turn them into weapons or worse, entertainment. Guard your words as you would guard your treasure." Harun then leaned closer and whispered, "The strongest person is not the one who can shout the loudest, but the one who can master his own tongue. The world is filled with people who speak without thought. Few are those who know when silence is the greater wisdom." the transformation, Malik left with a new understanding. Days turned into weeks, and he began practicing restraint. Where once he would speak quickly, now he paused. Where once he longed to unburden himself to anyone, he waited to see who truly deserved his trust. People noticed the change. He no longer gossiped in the marketplace nor whispered secrets to strangers. Instead, he listened more than he spoke, and his silence carried a weight that made others respect him. Over time, Malik became known not as the man with a heavy secret, but as a man of wisdom himself, because he had learned the power of silence. Closing moral, the lesson is simple, yet timeless. Words are like feathers in the wind. Once released, you can never gather them back. Not every truth must be spoken, and not every person deserves your trust. Silence is not weakness. It is strength, wisdom, and dignity. So the next time you're tempted to speak quickly, remember the old man's advice. Don't tell anyone unless you are certain their heart can guard what your tongue releases.